Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the second session of today. And we have with us our expert, Dr. Vardhan Samalia. Uh, he is presently working as associate professor in our at our NITTTR Chandigarh only in the Department of Entrepreneurship Development. So he's MBA and has the previous experience of IM and Thapar University, and has been holding quite a lot positions at various institutes and has good number of publications in the journals of repute. So he will be talking about the job related competencies among students and what is the need of the hour, because this department in our institute is again a very unique department which works upon basically or the entrepreneurship development and industrial coordination. So they see into that what is the requirement by the industry and what is the requirement by the academia, and they are the persons those who actually bridge the gap between the academia and the industry. So having a session from Dr. Harsh Vardhan with the previous experience at IMS at Thapar, and actually he is a mechanical engineer with MBA and doctorate in management. So it's like listening from horse mouth that what is the future and what should be done by the academia to make our students more employable or more attractive to the industry. So I welcome Dr. Harsh on behalf of all the participants. Thank you so very much for being with us. And Dr. Harsh, we have the participants from Pan India, from Chennai and Tamil Nadu, and from UP, Haryana, Punjab. So I would request you to communicate more in English because participants are more from South India also, and very interactive participants, and I would request some participants to switch on their cameras because it's always encouraging and it's always delightful to talk to the faces rather than talking to the pictures. So thank you, sir, once again, and I would request you to take over the sessions.
Thank you, Dr. Minakshi. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction and providing this opportunity to me to interact with such an august gathering. So I'm grateful to you for providing me this session where I can talk to the participants. Very good morning to all the participants as well. And I'll see to that. So as ma'am has given me a bit futuristic kind of topic, so which is very difficult to deal with, but I might travel my level best. And I think some of you have already attended my session, so some portion of that will be a repetition for them. But for the people who will be joining for the first time, or who will be listening to me, who will be listening me for the first time, this will be all. I think they might not have gone across all these aspects. So let me tell you the whole outline of my next 70 minutes. So what I'll be doing is first I'll be taking up with the question why this session or why this type of FDP is for you. Because as a student, this is something that used to cross my mind every time whenever I used to sit for any new subject, or still today is even whenever I go and sit in any new training program or a training program for a new topic or a new subject. This is something which crosses my mind. Why should I listen? Why should I know about this? So first thing, I'll try to establish the need of this session, wherein I'll talk about even though we may not change, our organization may not change, but the things around us are changing. So for that change, we have to look at it. And in that change, we'll see that what type of skills will be required in the workforce of tomorrow. When I'm saying tomorrow, it is 2025 or 2028, year 2025, 2028, I'm looking at. So I'm going to talk about that. and then we'll go on and we'll see what's in for me. After that, okay, I know this is changing, okay, students should have this, but then as an academician, why should I be worried about it? So as an academician, why should look at into these things, or some of the aspects that we should look into this. So in that aspects, one of the things I'm going to talk about is metaverse, and we'll just touch upon it because that's still a topic which is evolving. But yes, it can be something that you people can invest right now as an academicians. So I've seen many young and dynamic faculty members who have switched on their cameras, so I'm really thankful to them. And this will be especially for them, so you can always look at metaverse as one of the areas to dwell in. And please feel free to stop me at any point of time whenever you think you have any queries, or you think you are getting bored, so we can talk about something else as well. So this is the topic that has been given: job related competencies among students. So as I said, let's start with the topic, why this session for you. So one thing that we have to understand is, whether we accept or not, whether we may change or not, but the things are changing. And usually the word change is associated with a negative connotation. But if you look at it, the spelling of the word change, if I just replace the alphabet G by alphabet C, the same word becomes chance. So a change is always a chance. So that's the view I uh, think you should also have regarding these changes, what I'm going to talk about. Another aspect is, from the revered words of the words of revered Lord Gautam Buddha, change is the only constant in life. So whether we accept, we do not accept, we embrace change or do not embrace, but change is going to happen. So let's look at it. What are the things that are changing, or what are the things that are bringing the change as well? So one aspect is the composition of the workforce. If you look at it, today's the composition of the workforce comprises of all the five generations. So when I'm saying five generations, we are talking primarily about Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, or even some of the students, or the today's term is talking about Alpha generation as well. But let me talk about, what do you mean by Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, or where we call even the generation Y is also known as millennials, right? You might have heard about this word millennials quite a lot number of time, or you might have read about it. So when you are reading the newspapers or something. So anyone would like to talk about it? How do we segregate these generations? Based on what? So if someone say, I am from, let's say I am from Gen X, or am I from Gen Y? How do I know that whether I am from Gen Y or Gen Z? Anyone? As Madam said, large number of you are interactive, so would like to know the answers from you. Anyone would like to answer it? Okay, let me give the answer then, if no one is coming forward. So this is technological gap, Nahita ma'am. Right, there is a technological gap, but based on technological gap, I do not segregate them. That, yes, it is one of the part of it. Usually, if you look at it, the birth years are taken as the demarcation from one generation to another generation. So as I said, I belongs to Gen X. Many of you are from Gen Y. Some of you might be from Gen Z, right? But most of you are millennials. Now, why this segregation? That's important to understand. So just to give you an example, my daughter, who is in class 10, was listening to some music to which I was not able to understand. Neither it was Hindi nor it was English. I am a Hindi music lover. So neither. So I asked her, "What you are listening to?" She's in class 10th. She said, "Papa, I'm listening to K-pop." I said, "I have heard of indie pop. I have heard of English pop, but what is this K-pop?" So you don't know. I'm like, no. Yeah, Manju ma'am, absolutely correct. She made me knowledgeable. She said she's the army, BTS army, member of the BTS army. I said, what is this army, bhaiya? When you have joined this, I have heard of NCC and all these things, but never heard of BTS army. So Indian army is okay, I know, but this which country army is this? Okay, he said, Papa, you are old school. I said, yes, really, I'm an old school. So yes, then I came to know that it's a it's a Korean pop music band of boys. And so there is Pink and Pink Army and so on. So very famous among today's teenagers. Yeah, Black Pink, right? Very correct, ma'am. So you are up to date to that. Yeah. So yeah, I became a little bit knowledgeable after that. Then I started following them, but still I'm unable to know their names. But yes, this generation gap happens, right? This is what we call as the generation gaps. And if you look at it, these birth years are done after a lot of research, because what researchers found out, that the behavior, the choices, the preferences of these people are different, significantly different from one another. So the people, or the people who belongs to Gen X, their choices, preferences, behavior are significantly different from Gen Y, which is significantly different from Generation Z. And that comes in the terms of technology usage, adoption, and many other things as well, right? So this is so Nihata ma'am, this is not only the technology, but goes to social and other aspects as well. So this is a very significant change that is happening. Another significant change is happening is if you look at the number of connected devices. So if you look at the numbers in 2003 and compare it with 2020, you can see that in 2003 there were 500 million connected devices. Now that number has increased to more than 50 billion devices. And mind you, I am giving you 2-year-old data. And if you just compare it with today's data, again, it may be something huge right now, probably 70 billion or more than that. Now, this is giving rise to various other interesting phenomena. And one of the very big phenomena which is arising out of this thing is what we call known as IoT. So if you look at it, Internet of Things is what? This is nothing but the connected devices. So whether it your device, that may be a laptop or a computer or a mobile phone or a refrigerator or a car or a air conditioner or a gas stove or a coffee machine, anything. All these are getting connected, and that's what we are terming it as Internet of Things. So this is also one thing that is changing a lot. Okay, a caution to all of you. Some of you might know the answers, because I have seen some few names which might have heard me. But world's largest taxi company, world's largest accommodation provider, and world's most valuable retailer. I want answers from all of you quickly. Or world's fastest growing movie production house. Don't worry, just give the answers, please. Ma'am was saying that all of you are very responsive and interactive. Okay, taxi, very absolutely correct, Nahita ma'am. Okay, taxi companies Uber, yeah, Manju ma'am, very correct. Okay, world's largest accommodation provider, Oyo. Okay, Apple, world's most valuable retailer. Oh no, not retailer, is not a phone company. Okay, okay, Samsung. Okay, anyone else? I am seeing only two names who are giving me the answer. So is that there are only, okay, Purushottam sir, right? Good. Ola, okay, no sir. The answer is Uber for that. Okay. Any other names quickly? I want some more people. I heard there are very large number of participants who are attending this program. So I want answers from all of you. I'm waiting for the answers, please. Okay. Okay, let me give you the answers then. So one answer has only come correct of world's largest taxi company, which is Uber. World's largest accommodation provider is Airbnb, not Oyo, because Airbnb Oyo is actually modeled. Their business model is actually based on the Airbnb's model. They were the first movers, Airbnb in the world. Most valuable retailer is Amazon, right? And the world's fastest growing movie production house is Netflix. Okay. Anything common between all these firms? Some of the commonalities. Sorry. Some commonalities between these firms. Think out of box. Very correct. Yes, they thought out of box. Anything else? Absolutely correct, Manju ma'am. They are all big. Yes, very correct. Yeah. So if you look at it, not only they are big, they have thought out of box, but this is also a very interesting commonality between them, right? So if you look at it, Uber is the world's largest taxi company, but they do not own any taxis. Practically zero, right? If not theoretically, but yeah, practically zero. If you look at it, Airbnb, yeah, they are the first in their domains, most of them, not all. But yes, I can say that. For example, Airbnb is the world's largest accommodation provider, but they do not own any real estate. Similarly, Amazon do not hold any inventory. Practically, it's zero. Again, theoretically, it is not zero. They do some portion, but if you look at it, compare it with the size of items or the number of items or number of SKUs that they held, it is almost zero compared to that, right? So this is also bringing a large amount of change now. Now look at it. Had I told you this thing in a couple of decades ago, you might have laughed at me like anything. But this is now happening today. Yeah. So just like to hear some of you can unmute yourself. Just raise hands. What is your interpretation here? What is happening here? Any one of you would like to talk about it? What is what is happening here? Anyone would like to say here? In the picture that is being shown, what is happening here?
So the other two people stopping the man.
Right. So they are stopping the man from
I think beating the
Manju ma'am.
person.
Yeah. So the police wala is beating the lady, right? Yeah. That's what you are
Yes,
saying,
sir.
Manju ma'am. Okay. Yes, Sonam ma'am. Or someone else would like to say about it. You can unmute and say. Okay. Anyone else who has a different interpretation here? I request all of you to keep whosoever can keep their cameras on. Would request them to do that. It's always good to look at faces rather than at the screen. Yes, Sonam ma'am, would you like to say
A
what's
cop is
happening here?
hitting a poor person, and their companions are trying to stop the cop.
Very true, ma'am. So this is an incident that happened in UP. So some person tweeted this picture with a caption, and the caption that he wrote was UP police, right, and atrocities. So the caption was UP police and atrocities, question mark, he put, right, and tweeted this. And the moment it was tweeted, it became viral, and people started trolling the UP police like anything. And that's when UP police after 5-6 hours came into action, and then they posted the whole video of the whole incident. And actually what happened was, in that video, it was clearly evident that this poor police wala went to the village to catch a culprit. That culprit was the brother of this girl, right? And in order to help her brother in escaping from the clutches of the police, what she did, she held on to the collar of the police wala so that her brother can get some time to flee off. And because of the weight of the police wala, this police wala, poor police wala, fell down onto the girl. And in this picture, she was just trying to evade the hand of the girl and trying to stand up. So if you look at it, this is the picture which was a seconds before this picture. So will your interpretation remains the same? No. Now probably your interpretation might have changed had I shown you this picture before this picture, right? Now what happened was, this person tweeted this picture. So can UP police can go and catch this person under IT Act 2006, amended IT Act which was amended in 2013. Can this person be arrested by the police? No. Manju ma'am is saying no. Anyone who would like to say the answer here? Ajay sir? Or someone else would like to give the answer here?
No, sir.
No. Why that person cannot be caught, sir? Anyone would like to give? You are absolutely correct, sir. The person cannot be caught by the police or cannot be arrested by the police because he has not posted any fake picture. This is a real picture. Only thing was, what this person did was, he took a burst shot. Burst shot, in the mobile phone cameras, our mobile phone cameras, most of the mobile phone cameras has this feature called the burst shot. What is a burst shot? In burst shot, when we click a single time, we press the button single time, there is a 16 pictures is taken at one go. And they are all different, but it's not motion, but pictures. So what this person did, he took a burst shot, took out this picture and tweeted it. Now that tweet was also what? UP Police and Atrocities ? He put up a question mark. Remember Sanju movie? Rajkumar Hirani directed and Ranbir Kapoor starrer. Sanju movie on the life of Sanjay Dutt. There also the headlines had a question mark, which changed the life of Sanjay Dutt, right? Similarly, here also this person tweeted with a question mark. So you cannot arrest it. It is the interpretation of the reader. And as most of you might have interpreted it, that the police wala was beating the poor girl. So what I'm trying to say here is, this is also one of the big change that is being brought by social media or social networks. Right? So social networks, as an academician, we should be very much aware about this and sensitive about the usage of these particular things. Now, this is another one. People say change comes slowly, but I say to them that change can happen very quickly as well. So this is the amount of change that happens in 1 minute on the internet. So in 1 minute on the internet, 59 million messages are exchanged between the people. 59 million. Google search engine administers 4.1 million search queries every single minute. And this is 2020. Mind you, if I convert this thing, or if I show you the data of 2021, you can see here that 59 million has increased to 69 million. And if I don't have the data of 2022, but that might have increased to probably 85 million. On YouTube platform, 500 hours of content is uploaded every single minute. You can understand, or you can just calculate if you're good at maths, how many hours of content would have been uploaded onto the YouTube platform the moment this session has started. We have barely started talking in last 25 minutes. And in 25 minutes, you can just think of it, how many hours of content would have been uploaded onto the YouTube platform. So this is the amount of change that is happening around us. Okay. Any common thing between these firms? Few common things between these firms, these companies. You might be aware of about many of them. You may be knowing Nykaa, you may be knowing about Acco, Paytm, Oxizo, Quicker, Zomato. Okay, they are not manufacturers. Okay, absolutely correct. Many of them are not, but some of them are still the manufacturers. Okay, but you do agree they are primarily not manufacturers? Yes, very correct. Thank you for your answer, madam. E-commerce,
Service provider.
service providers. Okay, fine. News channel? No, not Gokul sir. Gokul sir, not news channels. I'll not call them the news channel. All of them are not news channel, right? So anything else? Anyone else would like to give the answers here? E-commerce is yes. Some of them are using e-commerce and of physical commerce as well, both, right? So if you look at it, for example, here Nykaa do have online presence as well as offline presence as well. In certain malls, if you'll go, you'll find the Nykaa's showrooms as well. Similarly, there are few others as well, like First Cry, for example. Even if you look at it, for example, Byju's are now opening the same thing here, or Cars 24. But yes, so what you said is absolutely correct. Let me add on to this, right? Direct to home is absolutely correct. So let me add another dimension to it. They all are unicorns. India's unicorns. Now, what are these unicorns? How do I say a company is a unicorn? How do I say a company is a unicorn for that matter? Anyone would like to give the answer on that? How do I say that a company is a unicorn? $1 billion business, okay. Income, okay. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to give the answer here? Startup company, okay. Dr. Shilpa, absolutely correct, ma'am. But can any startup can be called as a unicorn? So
Startup company with more turnover, like more than billion turnover.
it's turnover, okay. All of you are correct about one word here, that is $1 billion, right? But the thing is, it's not about turnover, it's about valuation. Their valuation should be 1 billion or above. Then a startup is known as unicorn startup. So valuation may not be because it may be your like the turnover may be less than 1 billion US dollar here, and the currency is US dollar, right? So like example for Baiju may not have reached that kind of a turnover right now, but still it is a unicorn. Or example for that matter, even for that matter, First Cry. But yes, these are the companies which became unicorn. So India is a now boast of 108 unicorns. These are the all firms which became unicorns in 2021, while these are the companies which became unicorns in 2022. And Tata 1mg, if you might have seen 1mg, which is in the online delivery of medicines, they are the latest entrant to this unicorn club. Okay, so this is also a kind of a change that is happening around us. So you have gone through Professor Sani's session yesterday. probably. So where he talks about the entrepreneurial capabilities, right? So entrepreneurial capabilities. So people are now moving towards entrepreneurship in a big way, and that's why you have seen so many companies coming up, or startups becoming unicorn for that matter as well. And as per one projection, India is going to be the number two startup ecosystem in the world. Right now, we are number three, but we will very soon surpass China as well. And we will be just behind US. And there will be more than a lakh. Already, there are 80,000 plus startups which are registered on the DPIIT portal of Government of India. And very soon we will, they are saying 2025. In my view, that this number might be crossed in the next year, or probably next year and a half, by 2020, before the first quarter of 2024. Also, it is expected that 150 plus unicorns will be there in India by the year 2025. So this is also bringing a huge amount of change, and there are certain disruptions that are bringing this change. Again, this slide is compilation from the various sources. You can see the sources I have written in the end as well. At just a small way I've written. So I've used Deloitte's reports. I have used reports from World Development Reports, even from Intuit, and so other sources. So, for according to them, some of the disruptions that are bringing the change involves usage of technology. So, technology is becoming quite ubiquitous in nature. You can see technology everywhere. We talked about diversity and generational change. That is also happening. And another thing which is forcing this change is automation, along with change in the nature of career. So, for example, if you look at the nature of the academics career of the academicians, that has also changed quite a bit. I remember my time when I was an engineering student. I remember, most of the faculty members, they will know only one area. So I was a mechanical engineer, so there was a faculty member who used to know only about theory of machines. He may not be knowing anything else, and even in theory of machines he was very good in 3 units. Rest, next 2 units, fourth and fifth, he doesn't knew anything. And but first 3 units, you can ask him any damn question. Because reason was, we used to our colleges used to run only for till the time the third unit will be completed. So he never got a chance to teach fourth and 5 unit, because our students will go on GT. So by our time, there were private colleges which were started opening up, and we used to get very less sessional marks. So we went to the principal and asked them, sir, we don't get marks. Our theory marks are very much higher than the university topper who is from a private college, because he's got a sessionals which is in 95%, and we get sessionals around 60 and 70%. So he said, you people don't take classes. So we said, okay, we'll take classes. So the moment we started going for the classes, this person has to teach fourth and fifth unit as well. And there he doesn't knew anything. So he's kept on dragging first 3 units like anything. But the point what I'm trying to say here is, the previously faculty members were supposed to teach only, and that to a limited amount of topics. But in today's time, do you have that luxury? No. You have to teach, you have to do research, you have to do academic admin as well. And all these things has to be done, has to be carried out by all of you. And you cannot say, I cannot teach these subjects, I can only teach one subject. Can't do that as well. Sometimes the syllabus changes, you have to take up a very new subject. So that kind of change is also happening in the life of the academics, or in the life of a teacher as well. And the biggest of the change has been brought by this. Right? Now this is online has become a new normal. I remember before the COVID was there in 2019 mid, I got some invitations when I was at IIM Shillong. I got some invitations from foreign universities to deliver online sessions. I was so scared of online sessions because, as a teacher, I require some faces to look at. So I can know that they are listening to me right now. See, I don't know how many of you are listening to me, apart from few who have kept their cameras on. I'm sure they are listening to me, right? But I'm not confident. So my mind used to stop working. I don't know what to speak when I doesn't used to see those faces. So I refused them. I just simply declined the offer. Now I am taking so many online sessions, even though the physical classes have also started. And this is something, because that's a change, and I have to embrace it. I have to accept this change. So this is something which has brought a large amount of changes. And even if you look at it, it's not limited to the education sector, but it is all across. So if you look at it, automation, or the adoption of automation or artificial intelligence, as well as the digitalization, is very much expedited or very much accelerated by this COVID-19 situation. But if you look at it, there has been a little negative effects as well. So if we talk from the students' perspective, this is June last year's report, 2021 report. As per this report, most of the mass recruiters are going to cut jobs. And if you have seen, that impact has started right now as well. Some of the companies have started laying off people. I'll show you the next slide. I'll show you, in fact, some of the things that are happening. So let me show you that as only. So if you look at it, though I was talking about some of the startups, unicorns, Byju's, is the most valuable startup among all the Indian startups. They have just laid down 2,500 people last year only, in the last quarter only, November. Even Ola has fired 2,300 people, along with some other firms like Blinkit, Unacademy, and Vedantu, to name a few. So this is something which is really a worrisome factor for educational sector as well. But if you look at the brighter side, there is an increase in demand as well. If you look at the brighter side, there is a demand of people as well. But how this, I am saying this contradictory things. On the one hand, I am saying that companies are going to fire people, companies are going to cut job, and on the other side, I'm saying in companies are going to have a huge demand of people. So there is a difference. The job cuts are going to happen for the low skilled people, while the people who are going to upskill themselves are going to be in high demand. That's the difference. So now the question comes, what kind of skills? So for that, let's look at some of the jobs that may exist in future. So I'm going to show you these jobs do not exist right now. So these kind of job profiles do not exist right now, but these jobs may exist in the coming future. So probably in the future, you will see a job profile of autonomous vehicle profile designer. Now, this is something kind of a person. Right now, we go and buy a car. What is the process of buying a car? We go to the showroom and just look at what is available for us and buy it with a small customization. But in the future, there will be a person with a tab who will sit, and as per your things, he or she will be, doing the customization for your car. So you can have various kind of color combinations, right? You can have some interior changes, real time. They will do it and then deliver the car to you. So that's what we call as autonomous profile. It will be not a mass production, but a customized production. And it will take a very few days. So right now, today, you'll go to the showroom, pick up the car and do your changes. Tomorrow, the car is delivered to you. In the future, there will be a job profile called cyborg psychologist. You might have heard of psychologist. Here I am talking of cyborg psychologist. Who will be the cyborg psychologist? A cyborg psychologist will be the person, because in the future there will be a large amount of uh, organ or limb transplants, and all these transplants may be coming from robotic transplants will happen. We have started seeing some of the transplants happening like that. But since the robotic transplants will be there, there is going to be a negative impact on the behavior of the person who is going to have that transplant. And to deal with those behavioral issues and negativity, you will require a person. And that person will have to know the knowledge of both robotics as well as psychology. So those people will be known as cyborg psychologists, and there may be a huge demand of these kind of people in the coming future. Another interesting area can be of this nanomedical engineering. So right now we have seen that cancer is one of the very dreaded disease. So chemotherapy is used for the treatment of that. But the problem with the chemotherapy is it does not differentiate between a healthy cell and a cancerous cell. So when a chemotherapy is given, it goes on and destroy all the cells which are in its path, and thereby decreasing the immunity of the cancer patient as well. Now, in the future, there may be a people who will be coming out with a nanomedical engineering, so nanoparticles, and that nanoparticles may be smart enough, to identify the cancerous cells versus healthy cells. So they will destroy the cancerous cell only and keep the healthy cell as it is. So this may be one of the engineering domain where both medical science and engineering will come together. And there will be a job profiles like nostalgist. Now, that nostalgists are going to use the VR or AR domain to create past experiences or future experiences for the people. We'll talk about AR and VR in the coming slide, so I'm just skipping this aspect. But yes, so if you look at it, so in today's time, so when I was saying the jobs are being cut, so jobs are being cut for these job profiles. So that means the jobs, people who are losing their jobs or who are going to witness job cuts are going to belong to this particular job roles. While these type of job roles are going to see a huge demand. So the people who are going to be information security analysts, IoT specialists, project managers, and others will see a huge demand. That also includes another interesting domain called fintech engineers. Anyone aware about what is fintech engineering? Have you heard of this specialization, fintech engineering? What is this? Can anyone would like to speak about it? Fintech engineering. No one knows what fintech engineering is all about? You might have heard of name of the companies called Zerodha, Grow, right? Dr. Kalpana ma'am, very correct. Banking process, yes. You might have heard of in terms of Paytm and other payment banks, right? Yeah. So very correct, Dr. Aparna ma'am. It is finance plus technology. So FIN from finance, right? So combination of two words, finance plus technology. So you have, in Hindi we call it Sandhi, right? So same thing, finance. From finance we have taken FIN. From technology we have taken TECH. So FinTech, financial technologies. So this is something which is becoming very much in demand in developed countries, and India also, they are getting huge amount of interest as well. So yes, these are the certain things, and again, these are not, I'm saying, out of the blue. This is all from the various verified reports. This is from World Economic Forum report. And if you look at it, these are the certain jobs which are again going to create a lot of interest. That was from World Economic Forum report. This is from I have taken from the Cognizant Companies Center for Future of Work. So if you look at it, there is going to be an edge computing. So from technical perspective, because Cognizant is a tech firm, so if you look at it, because of it's a technology based firm, so they have talking mostly of the technological domains. So they are also talking of, if you look at it, augmented reality, right? Which is going to have a large amount of application. So if you see here, it is augmented reality. They are talking of edge computing as well. They are talking of cyber city analyst, cyber city smart analyst, right? Cyber smart city analyst. They are talking about personal data brokers and various other job roles as well, which are going to be in high demand in the coming future, right? But the question comes, for these type of work or these type of job roles, what type of skills will be needed? And that's what we wanted to know, right? What type of skills will be required for these type of uh, job roles. So tomorrow, if I want to prepare my students, what kind of skills shall be imparted to them so that they will be industry ready, or they should be work ready, right? Because if you look at it, as per the NASSCOM report, last year's NASSCOM reports, large number of students were found I'm talking of engineering graduates from our country. Large number of them were found to be unemployable by the NASSCOM. They were saying there are huge amount of jobs, huge amount of demand of the people, but most of these students are unemployable. And to that, a large extent, a blame for this should be on us as well, as teachers to these students, as well as, for that matter, the people responsible for designing the curriculum for them as well. So let's try to answer these questions. What types of skills will be required by these people? So Aparna ma'am has given a very correct one, is digital literacy. That's a must. Digital literacy, not only for the students, mind you, most of the students are knowing about digital, and in fact they know more about the digital aspects than us. So it is for us as a teachers also to know about digital literacy. So technology, so as you rightly pointed out by you, madam, Aparna ma'am, so digital skills are very much required, but along with that we also require advanced technological skills as well, not only for them but for us as well. Also, along with that, equally important are cognitive and emotional skills. So higher level of cognitive skills, because you have seen that today's students are lacking in cognitive skills. They are very good at technological skills, but what they are lacking is cognitive and social and emotional skills, because technology is cutting us from the social world. I'm not talking about the social networking, that is Facebook or other aspects. I'm taking in general socialization. So like yesterday, a couple of days ago, I've gone to a restaurant, and I've just given an order to them, and I was just witnessing observing the people sitting in that restaurant. That restaurant was almost full. Interestingly, I have seen either the people was eating or they are on mobile phones. None of them were chatting to each other. There were 4 or 5 groups who have came in around 10 or 12 people, but none of them were laughing like anything. I remember when we used to go in a groups, we used to laugh like anything if we are 10, 12 people, so that the restaurant manager will come and say, sir, please, their others are getting disturbed. And interestingly, I was sitting there and was wondering how peaceful it is. And that's what is happening actually. So the technology is actually cutting us out. So people are getting connected on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter, and so on, but are getting disconnected in the real life. And that's what's happening. And that's what is one of the skills that companies are feeling the heat nowadays. Because these people are unable to work as a team. So that's is another aspect that we have to look at it. So again, so the top 10 skills, if you look at it, which will be required by the students or the graduates of 2025. Again, I'm talking in futuristic terms. As I said, it is difficult, but these all are projected on the basis of large number of research that these organizations do. So this is again from the World Economic Forum report. So the top 10 skills, if you look at it, it talks about analytical thinking, it talks about innovation, that talks about leadership and social influence. Again, social influence not through technology, but in a group, right? They do also talk about technology usage, monitoring, and design as well. But along with that, critical thinking and complex problem solving are equally important. So these are the skills. So tomorrow, if you're looking at the competencies to build around, these are the skills that you should look at as an academicians in order to empower your students for the coming future. So if I look at it in specific a little bit, I am going a little bit deeper inside. So in now we are talking of education 4.0. Similarly, like industry 4.0, we are talking of education 4.0 as well. So for that, you require skills like leadership. As I said, leadership is a very important thing. And in that, you are not talking only about leadership, only about social leadership. You are talking about also talking about digital leadership. So when I'm saying focus on people, so this is something I'm talking about as a social leadership. So you should have to become a people leader. You should, as a leader, you should be able to identify what are the core skills or what are the skills that are required by my employees for upskilling, right? Along with the traditional leadership that is required, that is motivation, team building, and so on. But along with that, you also require agility and digital leadership as well. Now, digital leadership is all about which technology to adopt, upcoming technology to adopt. So as an institute, as an educational institute, should I move towards metaverse? Should I move towards augmented reality? Should I move towards digital twins? Or shall I move towards something else? These are the questions that as a leader, if you're a leader of the institute, you should answer. Along with that, you should also have the agility. And agility is to adapt to the changes very quickly, right? And this not only leadership, again, if you look at it, you should have the ability to work with data. Again, this is a very important skill. Can you tell me any stream in technical domain which does not come across data? Give me any stream and I challenge you. You'll not be able to find anyone. Just give me anyone, be it civil, mechanical, chemical, any stream, and I'll give you where the data lies and where and how a student graduating as a specialist of that particular stream has to work with the data. Anyone who would like to take my challenge here? Anyone who people who are listening to me would like to take that challenge? Waiting for them. Anyone who'd like to take up my challenge? No, that means I am correct, right? Otherwise, you might have countered me. So this is again something that your students or the future workforce should have, along with cross-functional expertise and soft skills. So not only the domain knowledge is required, so it's not only that I should know about, since as I said, data I have to work with. So I should not, if I'm a civil engineer, I should also have a knowledge about little about IT as well. Similarly, if I'm an electronics engineer, I should know about mechanical as well, little bit, depending on the domain. So mechatronics is something which is a combination of mechanical and electronics. So it's the world is kind of blurring. The boundaries are blurring now. So cross-functional knowledge is definitely required along with soft skills. Though there is a complete session on developing soft skills that has been taken probably by Minakshi ma'am yesterday, right? So soft skills are very, very important. Please keep in mind, okay, there are hard skills and there are soft skills. I hope since this is you know uh, very much evident to you what is the difference between hard skills and the soft skills. But let me tell you, hard skills makes you eligible. They are the makes you qualifier. So in operations management, we talks of products as order features as order qualifiers and order winners, right? So hard skills are order qualifiers. They makes you eligible, while soft skills makes you desirable. That means they are the order winners. So tomorrow, if though two persons are there, and if a person has a just a very slight difference in their hard skills, one person is lesser conversant in hard skills than the other, but that difference is not significant. But this person whose hard skills are lower is very much higher in soft skills. As a company, as a employer, I would give employment to this person who is higher on the soft skills rather than the hard skills. Because this is something I was listening to it, very interesting story about Henry Ford, right? Henry Ford wanted to hire two people, hire one person for a very, Henry Ford, the person who invented the Model T black car, who invented the car basically, who started the car production. Uh, and they became quite big. The Ford became quite big. So they wanted a person to look at all the people because they were getting huge demand. So they shortlisted two person. So Henry Ford took both of them to the lunch, and after the lunch, he said to them, to the one person, "Sorry, I am hiring the other person." So the person who was not selected became shocked. He said, "Sir, we never talked about anything about automobiles. We never had any kind of interaction on technical aspects. Then why you are selecting my friend but rejecting me? I just wanted to know, because rest all things are similar. Both of them were pass outs of a very reputed university with very good marks and so on." He said two things. One, when we were there, you were calling me sir, but not the other one, the waiters, the other service providers, while this person was calling each of them very politely and with sir or madam. You were calling only me because you wanted to impress me. Second, he said, when the food came, right? The moment I said that there is a little bit less salt in it, you put salt on it. While this particular gentleman first ate it and then added it. This showed this person is acceptable to changes, but after trying out and finding out by himself, not on the hearsay. Primarily, what he did, just to give you the gist of the story, he looked at the soft skills rather than the hard skills. And there are so many stories like this in the corporate world. where the persons are inducted based on their soft skills. So the soft skills are very, very much important. And please try to inculcate. This is something which are very hard to impart as well. It takes time. So I'll request all of you. So when if you are responsible for the curriculum design, or if you are responsible for your course design, try to inculcate some of the soft skills aspects into your courses or your curriculum, because these are the certain competencies, as we have already talked about it: problem solving, creativity and innovation, communication, and something which are going to be required by the students of the future. But the caution now that brings to me is, what's in for me as an academician? What is there for me? Right? Okay, till now we have talked about from the student's aspect, and definitely a student and a faculty are connected. So whatever is going to happen, because we are responsible as an academicians, we are responsible for imparting those skills and competencies to our students. But keep in mind, it is not only that, this is also related to your job security as well. So one thing we have to understand here is that the education is witnessing the digital transformation. And this is very much happening in the higher education segment. And all of you are belonging to the HEIs, right? Higher education institutes. It becomes quite an imperative for you to know about these things. So now I'm going to talk about two technologies or two aspects, which in my view is something that you should look at, or you can look at not only investing your time and resources, but as something developing a competency of yourself as well, because that will be something which will be in high demand in the coming future, and you will be interacting, or you will be dealing with these things sooner or later. So if you look at it, that there is we started with digitization, we moved towards digitalization, and now we are moving towards in the digital transformation. So we are looking at a cultural shift from the technology, and that's why there is a kind of a new education right now. You might have heard the government of Ministry of Education has talked about complete digital university as well, right? Setup of they are setting up a whole digital university, as well as even if there is not a complete setup, all the universities or the most of the private universities already started it. Government universities have also started the process, though they are a little bit behind, but sooner or later they will also catch up, because UGC has also given go ahead for foreign university to set up their campuses in India. So this means what? There is going to be a large amount of competition. So digital transformation is something that we are looking at it. And if you look at it, there are large number of trends, 6 trends to be precise, that are bringing this particular transformation, digital transformation. So this includes gamification. This includes personalized learning. AI is another thing that you might have heard a lot. Redefinition or designation of the learning spaces, classroom set of devices, and augmented reality or virtual reality or mixed reality. And I am going to focus right now on the one is this AR and VR, or what we call as mixed reality, along with metaverse. So let's me put slightly touch metaverse, right? You might have heard this piece of news, last year news. a Puja production house, part of the Bollywood company, paid 5,000 USD for a virtual piece of land in metaverse. 5,000 US dollars. Huge amount of money for a virtual piece of land. In fact, Times of India came out with this news. Virtual real estate in the metaverse is booming. Would you like to be a part of it? I'm not saying invest in it. I'm not saying you to invest in this. But yes, yeah, marriage in the metaverse, that happened. A Kerala couple tied did their marriage on the metaverse, right? So this is something which has started happening and coming to India as well. But the question is, what is metaverse? Yeah, Manju ma'am, you like speak? You're speaking. Someone will unmute yourself and can you speak?
AU and VR.
Okay. AR and VR. Okay, augmented reality and virtual reality. Absolutely correct, madam. A part of augmented reality and virtual reality. So if you look at it, metaverse is still not defined properly in the literature. But I found this definition to be very good from McKinsey. So McKinsey company says it's the next iteration of the internet that seamlessly combines our digital and physical lives. Right? So that's what they have defined. And they also says that it is really an undefined one. So though they have tried to define it, but it's an undefined thing because it is still evolving. It's an infancy stage. But even in though it's in an infancy stage, it is attracting a huge amount of investment. It is expected that 120 billion US dollar will flow into the metaverse domain. That's the kind of impact that we are looking at it. Another impact aspect is that the reason is because metaverse is going to become valuable of around $5 trillion, 5 trillion US dollars by 2030. And large sectors are going to adopt this technology. And if you look at it, which sectors? This is the sectors right now. So as per them, right, these are the firms, energy and high tech are the ones which are leading in the adoption of the metaverse, but rest all are also following them very quickly. So probably healthcare, media, insurance, tourism, you will see a large amount of investments coming into this metaverse domain. So to look at it, let's try to look at it that as Meena ma'am, Manju ma'am has very correctly said that it's augmented reality and we are also involved in it. So I'm going to show you the usage of augmented reality in the education segment. And I'm going to show you in the medical education segment, but you can think of it the similar usage in the technical education, higher technical education segment as well. A very interesting one. Just look at this video, please.
The HoloLens is absolutely the most amazing piece of technology. Within 5 seconds, I realized that the world had changed. It was immediate realization that this is something exciting and we have to be a part of this. Seeing things in 3D is something that you could do before with some glasses. The thing that the HoloLens gives you is the ability to walk around those 3D objects and to really experience them as if they're in the room with you.
It is augmented reality. It is mixed reality. And what that means is I still see you, I still see this room and everything around me, but the digital content is inserted into the room as if it's actually there.
As a teacher, I can see what they're all looking at. And that's something that we think has real power.
It's actually opening up our interactions with each other.
The biggest drive is getting the anatomy curriculum completely done by the time we move into the new health education campus.
Today, we at the Cleveland Clinic are constructing a state-of-the-future health education campus. Our students will learn using the most forward-looking educational programs. HoloLens is a key part of this.
The actual act of dissection hasn't changed in generations. We have to be much, much more effective and efficient.
The biggest thing about medical school is there's just so much information and so much knowledge you're being asked to learn.
HoloLens is going to enable us to teach in an integrated way and to look at the body in ways they haven't been able to see it. It's sort of having X-ray vision, seeing through the skin.
My mind was just kind of blown when I tried it on. It was perfect. It's really hard to understand what the anatomy book's trying to tell you. So with the HoloLens, we can literally show you what's happening with the body.
We can look at how the heart moves, or look at how the brain processes information, how information flows around in our brain.
They can see when the heart valves are closing and hear the sounds.
How the diaphragm moves, when the lungs move. A click of the fingers is going to allow students to see how everything's interconnected in the body.
We have means to draw people's attention to things to get them where they need to look. Do you want to look and then pull the bones out?
What they really crave is learning anatomy in the context of what they need to know clinically. What are they going to need to know for their clerkships and their future careers?
So with HoloLens, we can have essentially any disease that you want to see.
So when I see an image like this in the hospital, I know exactly what's going on. This is how to treat and diagnose them.
The HoloLens provides like a new way of teaching anatomy. It can really speed up the process of learning this material.
I think HoloLens is the next big transformative change in medical education.
Yeah. So you heard it? You were you able to listen to the sound as well? Right. So you have seen this. Now you can see here, this is, I'm not talking about something about very, something down the line 20, 30 years ago, later. What I'm talking is something that is going to happen in the next 2-3 years. So Cleveland High is something, one of the leading hospitals in the US. They have already having their curriculum. Probably by next year, they will be having the complete anatomic curriculum on this platform of augmented reality, or what you call as mixed reality, rather than now the word that is being used more and more is the mixed reality. Now think of it, what potential this particular technology carries for the Indian technical higher education system. Just think of it. For a country like India, where most of the polytechnics and ITIs are in the near the remote part of the country, right? Where and they have a huge amount of infrastructural issues. So like IITs do, they have the world-class infrastructure, so they can show their students a large amount of things, which large number of government polytechnics and ITIs can't do because they don't have that kind of infrastructure with them. I remember when I was doing my engineering, and as I was talking about theory of machine, this teacher used to, though I had talked a little bit negative about him, but the best part about him, the first 3 units, he used to teach like beautifully. So he was teaching us this couplings, right? Links and links and what you call it, kinematic links, and there was a coupling, so which was used to transform motion. And I was not able to visualize that. I read the book almost 2-3 times. He explained it, but still I was not, in my mind, I was not able to visualize how the things were actually happening. I was forgetting about it every time. Luckily for me, I went to represent my college at annual fest of BITS Pilani at that point of time. So as soon as I was leaving for the BITS Pilani, my father told me, who was also a graduate, a mechanical engineering graduate from BITS Pilani. He was a BITS Pilani graduate. So he told me, beta, you are going there. Just do visit their mechanical engineering museum. They have a museum there. It's a beautiful museum. You'll enjoy. I said, okay, Papa, I'll go. I went there. There I saw this wooden prototype of this coupling, which I was reading which I've read 2-3 times and was still not able to understand. And the moment I pressed the button, it started moving. And what I was not able to get clarity after reading 3-4 times, the same thing get clarified in half a minute because I was able to see that motion. And it stuck to my mind. Now look at it, that's the power of visualization. And one of the reasons that IITs have an edge is because they were able to show class. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but one of the reasons that they are able to show their students, their participants, the kind of things they want to show or they are teaching. But most of the government polytechnics or government colleges, do not have that kind of infrastructure. But the interesting part is, with this kind of technology, they will be able to showcase to their students the things they want. So there will be a large amount of things that the government will require teachers to develop content for. Not only developing content, they will also require you to teach or develop pedagogy to teach this type of courses. So that's why you should be ready for this. So if you are a young, I see many young faculty members here, I'll suggest them to at least start reading about this technology or start keeping themselves abreast about this particular aspect of the education. And in fact, government has also started it. So if you look at it, NITI Aayog has decided to train 12,000 Indian teachers on this particular technology. So it's not that the Indian government is also, looking at it as one of the major technology to address some of the lacunas that are there in the Indian education system. So with this, I'll stop here and rest 5-7 minutes. I like to take up some of the questions or queries that are there, and I'll try to say also that another aspect where you can look at in inculcating job related competencies among your students is by collaborating with the industry. And you can look at 3 domains in that way. One is not only your teaching domain, but also is the research and the consultancy aspect. So with this, I'll end here and I'll open the house for any of the questions or the queries that are there for any of the participants. If you have any queries or any questions, please feel free to ask. Any questions, any queries? कोई भी प्रश्न आप लोगों का हो, प्लीज बेफिक्र होकर पूछ सकते हैं. मेरा आंसर फुलिश हो सकता है, बट नॉट द क्वेश्चन. Any observations, any questions, anything from your side, please feel free to ask. कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं, इसका मतलब सब ऊपर से बाउंस हो गया. Everything is bounced.
मैं भी यही बोलती हूँ सर कि either it is all clear or it is clear all.
I think it's all clear. Sub bounced.
Anyway, so
Yes,
okay. If some queries are still there, you can post me or send me a mail and I can forward it to sir, and we'll be glad to respond to your queries. So with this, I would like to thank, but I can see many appreciation in the chat box.
Thank
So
you,
thanking
Manju ma'am,
and
thank you,
appreciating
ma'am, for your encouraging words. Thank you, Purushottam.
because you take the session like you move from point A to B in a very seamless way. So many things you cover, but it goes in such a very smooth way कि कितनी सारी चीजें और भी learn कर ली हैं. So thank you so very much, sir, on behalf of
Thank you,
all
ma'am.
the participants. And
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
yeah, thank you, sir. If they have any queries, I shall pass it to you so that
Thank
they
you.
can be answered.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you, Manju ma'am. Thank you, Aparna ma'am, and Purushottam sir for your answers, as well as Sona ma'am for it.